3 hours later, a group of 5 was on the train to Aford. Sherlock Holmes, the engineer, Police Inspector Bradstreet, a plainclothes police officer, and myself. The inspector was studying a map of Aford area. He drew a circle with Aford at its center, the line marking 10 miles distance from that town. "You said an hour's drive," said Bradstreet to Hatherley. "That gives us quite a large area to cover." "I wish we knew in what direction to start looking." "I can lay my finger on it," said Holmes quietly. "Nonsense, Holmes. It could be any direction. I say south. That area seems more deserted." "I say east," said Hatherley. "I say west," said the plainclothes officer. There are very few little villages there." "I say north," I said. "There are no hills there, and our friend didn't notice the carriage going up or down." "You're all wrong," said Holmes, pointing to the map. "This is where we shall find them." His fingertip was right on the middle of the circle, on Aford itself. "But the 12-mile drive," gasped a confused Hatherley. "6 out," said Holmes, "and 6 back. They did it to confuse you. You said that the horse was fresh and glossy when you got in the carriage. It couldn't have been, if it had just come 12 miles to fetch you." "This is a very sneaky gang," said the inspector with a smile. "Yes," said Holmes, "it's clear what they were up to, using the press to pound together the metals used to make coins." "Counterfeiters!" I exclaimed. "We've been trying to find a clever gang of counterfeiters for some time now," said the inspector. "They've been making fake coins by the thousands. Now I'll finally get my hands on them." But the inspector never got that chance. As our train rolled into Aford, we saw a huge cloud of smoke rising from behind a clump of nearby trees. "A house on fire?" asked Bradstreet. "Yes," said the station master. "It broke out during the night, but by the time anyone noticed, the flames had spread beyond control." "Whose house is it?" "Dr. Beecher's." "Is he German?" asked Hatherley. "Very thin, with a long, sharp nose?" "Not at all. Quite the opposite. A very short and very round Englishman. But he has a friend staying with him, who's quite on the narrow side." We hurried toward the burning house. Flames shot out of every door and window, while 3 fire engines pumped out water that seemed to do no good. "That's the place," cried Hatherley. "There's the gravel drive and the front door and the rose bushes where I collapsed. And that window up there, that's the one I fell from. Well, at least you've had some revenge on them. Their precious machine and their evil business have been ruined. Your oil lamp, which was left in the press when you escaped, started the fire when it crashed. The wooden walls caught on fire, but the men were too busy chasing you to notice until it was too late. Search the crowd for their faces, but I'm sure they are long gone by now." Holmes was right, as usual. No word has ever been heard of the beautiful lady, the sinister colonel, or his chubby friend. Not even Holmes, with all his amazing skills, would ever able to turn up a clue to where they'd gone. "Well," said the young engineer, as we rode the train back to London, "this has been quite some business for me. I've lost my thumb and lost half Guinea fee. And what have I gained? Experience. And for the rest of your life you'll have an amazing adventure that people will beg you to tell."